Hello everyone and welcome to this overview of how I made my sash for my Mother Miranda costume.
First things first, if you want this pattern and you don't want to do the work yourself, I have it for sale on my website for patrons right now. It will go up for general sale eventually, so depending on when you watch this, it is either available to patrons or it is available to everybody. You're welcome. Basically, what I did is I created a vector pattern of the Mother Miranda sash, and then and I did two things. So on a laser cutter, you can obviously cut. You can also etch. Etching is hard on fabric because it is so thin, but it is doable. And so basically, I set the laser so that on the one hand it cut, and then on the other, the blinding brightness of this silver doesn't make it impossible to see, you can also see all of the little details that were created by basically running a second line at super low power. And the way I did it so that it's so perfect is basically I took a silver lame, and I don't know, I've seen people do the sash in white. It looks silver to me in all of the photos, so I chose a silver, and I actually chose a more matte silver. Believe it or not, I had to, for the ribbon on the side, I actually had to use a matte spray to make it less shiny because it was so insanely bright in comparison to the lame. But so this is actually dull in comparison, and I thought that that was a pretty good compromise. So I took the lame and I took this wonder web and I layered them together, basically putting this on the bottom and then putting this on top. If you are using a laser cutter, typically there is suction through the bottom, and it held down the fabric really, really well. And made everything nice and flat, and then I just used the laser cutter as you normally would. Now, again, the lame is basically a plastic fabric, and so you do want to make sure that you do tests to make sure you're using just above the minimum needed to cut through. Obviously, sometimes the laser is a little misaligned and you might have problems cutting through if you do the absolute minimum in certain spots. So I always go just like 5 to 10% higher, just to make sure that I get an actual cut and I'm not ripping the fabric when I pull it apart. But the great thing about this is because it is based on heat and Wonder Web is based on heat, they fuse together automatically. And so what you get is this perfect iron-on patch. So this, for example, is a test piece that I did in gold, and you can see it's the lame on the one side and the Wonder Web is fused to it on the back. And the whole entire thing is light enough. It is difficult to kind of get everything aligned perfectly and then have it not move while you iron it, but it is possible. Now, technically, what I would normally do with a patch like this is I would actually stitch it down as well. However, this is an extremely delicate pattern. I mean, you can see some of these little swirls and stuff are very, very thin. And so in going back and doing my tests, when I tried to do this with lame specifically, it basically tore the lame apart when I had it small enough to basically maintain those details. And then it also kind of had and the other problem that I had is that I basically was bulking out some of the smaller details with the thread, and I didn't really like how that looked. So probably for V2, I will create an embroidery pattern using this vector work, but we are not there yet. In the meantime, though, this actually worked out pretty great as long as you iron everything on really, really well, and you, you use enough water and heat. I wore this all day and was moving around aplenty, and I really don't have anything peeling up at all that I can find. Though, of course, I've said that and now I'm paranoid that there probably is one that I don't know about. But I hope that that helps. When you're doing this, it's probably best to use a polyester or nylon fabric, something plastic, because it does melt, and it'll help the Wonder Web fuse. Although I haven't tried it with a thin cotton. I'm gonna go try it with a thin cotton. Okay, so to just kind of show you guys how this works, like I said, you're gonna cut this out on the laser cutter, and when you do, each of the pieces that gets cut is gonna look like this. They are only held together by this teeny tiny little piece at the bottom. I didn't connect them at any point because, like, on the sash, they're not technically connected. They have little spots that are open. So, I got a little something going on here. But this is what it comes out once you cut it. So you're gonna have to line it up like so. Oh, I see it broke. That's okay. It's a good thing this is just demo. And these points and these points need to be as close as possible. And this likes to drift apart here at the bottom. So just be aware of that. Like I said, if you go ahead and put the Wonder Web on the back while you're laser cutting, should be good to go. Just lined up. Like that. And with Wonder Web, I mean, you can follow the instructions. Usually use a towel. I can't find mine to save my soul, so I'm just going to use this cotton. And we are going to go ahead, press this down with a damp towel on top, or, you know, natural fiber, depending on what you're ironing. So this is a lame. I don't want to overdo the heat, but the hotter you go, the better it will adhere. If you don't have enough heat, it'll peel up. So da-na-na-na. Ooh, she's still steamy. So yeah, and now it is adhered perfectly. It is a fabric. It's not, I realize in the video it kind of seems like it's one of those iron-on silver whatever for shirts. It's not. It's a lame. But you could do this with any fabric and it should work just fine. So hopefully that helps you guys with some fake embroidery in the future. Anywho, experimentation aside, that's how I managed to make my Mother Miranda sash, and how you can make it too. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Patreon, and I will see you guys later. Bye!